With a win against Northland and Olathe East under their belts, the Lancers have two of the hardest weeks ahead of them, facing Blue Valley and an exhibition trip to St. Louis, Missouri, where they will play St. Louis University High School and De Smet High School, two top 10 teams in the nation. But a string of injuries have recently plagued the Lancers. How will the Lancers fare this week? Find out in this episode of Face Off, a Shawnee Mission East lacrosse story. Every year, the lacrosse team has exhibition games in St. Louis, Missouri, an early-on indication of how the team will fare throughout the season. They will be playing games against St. Louis University High School and De Smet High School. Yet, as fate would have it, the Lancers find themselves missing a number of key varsity players the week before St. Louis, due to injuries.
Gasol has been injured for a while. He had a fishing accident with his finger. Harrison Gooley sprained his wrist in the Blue Valley West game that Friday before we left. And Andy Gagne had a groin strain in that same game.
March 28th. Junior Cameron Ream made his varsity comeback to the team after suffering a spinal injury in the offseason. But within the first 5 minutes of the game, Cameron experienced discomfort and stinging in his back. This forces him out of the game and causes him to miss the trip to St. Louis, putting his season in further jeopardy.
So there are a lot of new guys that we're getting valuable experience, probably on the biggest stage against the best teams we're going to play all year. But that's good for them because they learn how to deal with it.
April 1st, the first game of the Lancers exhibition in St. Louis, the first test against St. Louis University High School. A win here has the potential to expand the Lancer lacrosse program and give it the recognition it deserves. SLU High School began the game with a number of goals early on, picking apart the Lancer defense. Faceoffs began to give the Lancers problems as they switched from sophomore Hank Breckenridge to Griffin Freeze. However, this switch did little to change the box score, with SLU High School continuing to bully the defense. At half, SLU High School 10, Lancers 5. When the offense did have possession, they scored often, with 4 goals from sophomore Griffin Freeze and 2 from senior Trip Moore. The game ended SLU High 17, Lancers 8. Coach Garrett declined an interview after the game.
I know personally I had a terrible game. Definitely not the outcome we wanted. But like I said, we left feeling that there's something left to be accomplished.
Just knowing that, had I been out there, I could have done something. I thought I could have done something to help, or with Andy out there too, Gagne.
Defense was the Achilles heel for the Lancers in their loss against SLU High School. Communication and defense improvements will need to be their main focus as they move on to face De Smet High School.
On Sunday, usually they're in the top 2 or 3 in St. Louis as well. They are a little bit different than SLU in that they're a lot more big, strong, and athletic.
April 2nd. The Lancers played De Smet High School. This is the Lancers' chance to redeem themselves. De Smet scored within the first minute of the game, setting the tone early. The Lancers were again plagued with their problems they faced against SLU High School. At half, De Smet led 15-3. All the players and coaches declined an interview after the game, with the final score being De Smet 18, Lancers 5.
The big positives are that now as a coaching staff and as a team, we know exactly what we need to work on to get back to where we were last year. And that's what we're going to work on the hardest for the rest of the year.
The box score doesn't tell the entire story of the Lancers exhibition games in St. Louis. When in possession of the ball, they scored with ease, with multi-goal games from Griffin Freeze and William Larson. But the biggest problem now is on the defensive side of the ball, losing by double digits at one point. With their next game against Rockhurst, will the Lancers be able to fix their mistakes in time? Find out on the next episode of Face Off, a Shawnee Mission East lacrosse story.